Hello, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Game Plan.
Here we go!
All right. We're here on this New Year's Day. This is the Game Plan. I'm Slater, and this is Mike. And what we're going to first do is we're going to roll right into it with Week 17 Cowboys versus Lions. Now, on this New Year's Day, how are you feeling about after that game?
We won, so I'm definitely happy about the win. Number 2 seed after we get finished with Washington next weekend. But Jimmy Johnson night that finally happened. The curse has been lifted in Dallas, and we get a little bit of a controversial win, but it's a win that I'm more than happy to take. Um, sometimes things like that just happen in NFL. And as a Cowboys fan, you know that we've been on the other side of that coin a couple of times ourselves. So, yeah.
Yeah, so rolling right into it. So, what I'm going to start with is what Brad Allen said after the game. Number 68, who ended up going downfield and touching the pass, did not report. Therefore, he is an ineligible touching a pass that goes beyond the line, which makes it a foul. So the issue is number 70 did report and number 68 did not. Now, 68 Decker have been playing left tackle all game. And everyone has seen the sky cam of it where
Right.
you see Sewell and Decker and number 70 all walk up to the rep. They try to hide it, which I get because you don't want to make it obvious that all of a sudden your left tackle is going to potentially go out for a pass or become an eligible receiver.
Right.
But they announce it to the defense. So I really don't see why you try to hide anything. So rolling into that, let's hear what Dan Campbell first had to say after the game.
Talk about it. All right. I explained everything pregame to a T. Okay, I did that. 70 reported, 58 didn't, or 68 didn't. We threw it to 68. That was the explanation.
So obviously you can tell right then and there the frustration that Campbell has. I know that more in that press conference, he grabs like a piece of paper which looks like the stat sheet and just like automatically wads it up.
Right.
In that situation, I feel that you have to be more than just a former player or more than just a fan. You got to kick the PAT after you get that flag and backed up 5 yards. The fact that they went for it 3 times in a row and even got the third one because Michael Parsons jumped off, I mean, you got to kick the PAT. I mean, how do you feel about that? Do you think they should have just kept going for 2 like they were?
Well, I absolutely agree that, you run the play, you get a penalty, they call it back, you get moved back, and you try the play for a second time that also has a penalty, and then you do it a third time. So when you rewind back to the fact that there was a controversy that stopped the 2-point conversion that would have won the game for the Detroit Lions, you have a second opportunity to make that decision again. You could kick the field goal and prolong your time on the field to try to win the game, but instead you make that decision a second time and a third time. So if you want to say that the Lions were robbed, you can blame it as much on decision making after that happened as so-called being robbed, because you had an opportunity to correct your game plan and end up still staying in contention for the game. So that's one aspect to look at it. But then, one of the benefits of shooting this right now is that we've seen all the information that's come out. We've seen every angle. We've seen every opinion on the things that happened. Controversial flags wasn't an illegal formation, wasn't an illegal touch. What I honestly think is they were being so clever with the play design that they ended up confusing the referee. And one of 2 things happened. Either the referee saw 70 and heard 68 and then went and told the defense 70 was eligible, and they throw it to 68. And then he gets reminded by the defense, you told us 70 was eligible, but they threw the ball to 68. Because if you notice the timing, the flag comes out well after the Detroit Lions are celebrating.
Yeah, exactly. They're all on the
Yeah,
sideline
yeah,
jumping. You
and
even see like
right,
in like the press boxes, like all the Lions fans that were in the stadium, just like
right,
going nuts. I've seen
right.
celebrity videos of them like, "Oh my gosh, we won!"
So
And
it's like, what prompted that flag to suddenly come out? So now the referee's in a tough situation because, he's been called out for the defense for not making them aware that 68 was eligible. So it's like, did 68 pat his chest and or verbalize that he was eligible? But the referee is looking at 7.
yeah,
Plus, there's another guy standing there. So there's 3 linemen in this smoke cloud of linemen coming in to be eligible receivers. So I think what happened is, it's on the ref. In all honesty, it's
yeah,
not a player's fault. It's not a coach's fault. They have all these places to make the coaches aware of these unique play designs that are going to happen for a game. And it's grease markered in the
yeah, for
hallway,
sure.
so they know what's going on. So I think what happened is the play was tricky. The ref just got confused, and then he's put in a position where he's got to make a call because he heard and saw what he saw, and I think he just got confused.
Yeah, and I mean, as you may be watching this video and we're talking about it,
Right.
everyone knows that that reffing crew has been already demoted and
Yeah,
kicked out of the
absolutely.
playoffs. So it's like they already have been like banned from the playoffs off of this call. But they're also the refs that missed on the. Do you remember the Chiefs and Packers game?
Yeah, with
Or
the being on in line, the wide receiver being lined up offside.
no. It was the game where Marcus Scantling was running down the field, and the PI when he jumped over him and launched over his back,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't never called PI. He was a part of that game too
Oh
and
wow.
missed that call.
Well, they also missed the tripping call for us.
Yes, exactly. They called it on
So
Hendershot
yeah,
instead of
right.
Hutchinson.
Yeah, on the wrong side of the ball altogether in the wrong team. So it's just one of those things where so many things can happen in a game that could change the outcome of a game if you want to get into calls, non-calls, and things like that. So. But at the end of the day, yes, it was a bad call. Yes, it's on the referees and it's his responsibility to get that call right. But at the same time, they had every opportunity. In fact, they had 2 more opportunities to kick an extra point.
Exactly. And that's what I was asking you is
Yeah,
like I just feel like as a coach you gotta go to overtime at that point. You tried, it didn't
yeah,
work. But now everyone in the NFL
yeah.
knows your
You
plays.
sprinkled your magic dust, so now that's spent. What are you going to do
Well,
now?
the fake punt and then the 2 point, I get in that moment why going for it for the first time. But when you get called back,
Right.
you have got to you gotta keep the PAT, in my
Yeah, yeah.
opinion. I feel like Mike McCarthy would have done it. Even though his
Right.
clock management's horrible,
Right.
you gotta keep the
Yeah,
PAT.
we shouldn't even have been on that side of the field at that time. You run it 3 times, you leave them 30 seconds, and you just
Just
strap in and try to stop the offense. But
yeah. Just a heartbreaker
throwing it to the
almost.
corner of the end zone with a minute and 40 seconds left is not ideal.
Yeah, and so one of the things that I did notice from this game too, is that their running attack wasn't as good as it's been the past 2 weeks when we played the Dolphins and the Bills. So David Montgomery went 14 carries for 65 yards and a touchdown, and Jameer Gibbs 15 carries, 43 yards and 0 touchdown, which I feel was pretty big for us, especially previous 2 weeks where the James Cook happened and we got demolished by him alone. And then with Raheem Mostert and A Chain and that fast team,
Right.
we seem to slow it down just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean they definitely had some success on offense running and some success on defense with our running. They did a lot of run blitz, so that definitely stopped the progression of our momentum. Was one
Yeah.
of the things that I noticed is we just couldn't get a solid drive together consistently because in our back every other play it seemed
Well,
like.
Demarcus
And
Lawrence
Demarcus Lawrence
has
had a
been
monster game,
the past
and
2 weeks when it
yeah,
comes to the run, he has been unbelievable. Just
yeah,
get out of my way,
yeah,
like
yeah,
he's been killer taking on 2, 3 guys and still making the run stop play. Dak Prescott went for 26, 38, for 345 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 INT, and that 1 interception. See, there, I'm gonna jump ship
yeah.
a
Go
little
for it.
bit on this, but there were so many things in that game where the Lions feel like they got robbed, but we made a lot of mistakes. CD fumbling,
Right,
Dak going for a wild play and ended up being an INT, the
right,
fake punt not being ready. Jalen Tolbert, I hope he's
yeah,
never on the punt return again.
yeah,
That's happened twice to
yeah.
him. And after you notice that,
On similar styles of play too.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
just
was
over
just
his
over
head.
the top.
Yeah,
Like he's running like a receiver,
Right.
turning around instead of like lining up on him like a corner
Right.
and like covering him
Right.
down the field. So going into that, we've seen all the results for Week 18. What are your final thoughts for this Lions game, and what should the Cowboys look forward to in Week 18?
Looking forward to the number 2 seed and a home playoff. So you definitely want the home field advantage, and you take care of business in Washington. You know, it's basically painted dirt over there.
Yeah.
So it's a horrible field, and that's the only real concern I have about it is the fact that field is just so bad. But we win that game, we get at least 2 home playoff games. And we see where everything lands. But I just have a feeling we're gonna see the Lions again down the road here before
Yeah.
too long. So, but at least it'll be at home.
Well, hopefully, if we take care of business with Washington, that we can have 2 home playoff games, which Dallas
Right.
hasn't seen in a long time.
Right.
2021, we had what I believe to be the 3rd or 4th seed against San Fran, lost that game at home. And then last year we went on the road twice and again lost in San Fran. So if we're gonna avoid San Fran, we gotta win this game. We gotta make sure that our destiny is secured until we run into them, potentially the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
And we haven't lost a home game since last year.
Yeah, and I definitely feel good about where the team's at. I feel good about
especially after
obviously
these past 2 weeks
Yeah.
when it's been weird.
yeah, watching Dak Prescott perform the way he's performed. I couldn't be happier. When you're playing this time of the year, it's always easy to be critical, but we're playing teams that are getting down to it where they've got to have wins just as bad as anybody else. You're getting everybody's best effort, and not just because we're the Dallas Cowboys, but you're getting their best effort because they're at their prime. They're at their most optimal levels of play at this point in the season.
It's
So,
all playoff football for
so,
any
yeah,
team that has a contention shot,
exactly.
or whether you're in or whether
Right.
you're fighting
It's
for a
playoffs from
spot.
about week 15 on, if you want to get right down
That
to
game
it,
that
and that's
we
where we're at.
Yeah,
So,
that game we watched Saturday night, that's a playoff game.
Yeah.
Us against Miami last
Yeah.
week, that's a playoff
That's a
game.
good, yeah.
Buffalo,
is a
playoff game.
Yeah.
And Philly right before that,
Yeah.
playoff game.
Yeah.
So I've seen ups and downs.
You
in
notice
the
those are all
stretch.
playoff teams, right?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
funny,
Buffalo
well,
may.